All right, so are you ready to dive into Autobiography of a Yogi?
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this one.
Me too. It seems like every time I mention this book to someone, they're either like, it's my absolute favorite, or they've never even heard of it.
It's definitely one of those books that can really stay with you.
Yeah, and for a book that was first published almost a century ago, it still feels surprisingly relevant.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yogananda had this remarkable ability to make these ancient spiritual teachings accessible to a modern audience.
Okay, so for those who haven't cracked open Autobiography of a Yogi yet, can you give us the quick rundown? What's it all about?
Well, in a nutshell, it's Yogananda's life story. But it's so much more than just a typical biography. It's packed with these incredible stories of gurus and yogis and miracles and mystical experiences. It's basically a crash course in Eastern spirituality, but told through the lens of Yogananda's own personal journey.
And what a journey it was. From what I gathered, his childhood was anything but ordinary. It's like he was practically destined for a life steeped in spirituality.
Oh, absolutely. Even as a young child, he had this intense yearning for something beyond the material world.
Yeah.
He talks about these vivid memories that he attributes to a past life as a Himalayan yogi.
Wait, a past life as a yogi? Are you serious?
Yeah, he describes it in detail. He even recounts specific teachings and practices from that supposed past life. Now, whether you take that literally or metaphorically, it speaks to this deep-seated longing for spiritual truth that permeated his entire being.
It's like he always had this inner compass pointing him towards a deeper understanding of himself and the universe.
Exactly. And this longing, this search for truth, is a recurring theme throughout the book.
And speaking of searching, the story of his mother and her influence on his spiritual path is incredibly moving.
It's heartbreaking, really. She
Right.
passes away when he's quite young, but not before imparting this profound message that would shape his entire life.
Right. And the way she delays sharing those final words, those words that unveiled her own spiritual depth, it's just incredibly powerful.
It's like she knew the impact those words would have, and she waited for the perfect moment to share them with her son.
And she basically urges him to seek solace not in material pursuits, but in the everlasting joy of communion with God. It speaks volumes about the depth of her own spiritual understanding, and understanding she clearly hoped her son would one day embrace.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest gifts come from the most unexpected places.
Absolutely. So we've got this spiritually gifted child, this deep connection with his mother, and this burning desire to connect with something larger than himself. Where does he even begin?
Well, that's where his quest for a guru comes in. He yearns for a guide, someone who can help him navigate the complexities of the spiritual path.
And he's not afraid to go to great lengths to find this guidance, even running away from home as a teenager.
Talk about determination,
Right.
But that's how important this search was for him. He was willing to risk everything to find the right teacher.
And the encounters he has along the way, like that story about the saint with two bodies. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that one.
I know, it's like something straight out of a dream. You have to
Yeah.
read it to believe it.
It really makes you question everything you think you know about reality.
It does. And it highlights this recurring theme in the book, this idea that there are hidden laws that govern a realm beyond our everyday senses.
Okay, so we've got mystical encounters, a longing for a guru, a mother's dying wish. It already sounds like we're dealing with some pretty heavy stuff.
We are. But don't worry, Yogananda injects humor and lightheartedness into even the most profound spiritual teachings.
Well, that's good to hear, because I have a feeling we're going to need a little bit of both as we delve deeper into Autobiography of a Yogi.
Hey, you got it. So are you ready to meet the Tiger Swami?
Oh, I love a good story. Let's hear it.
Okay, so imagine this. A man literally wrestling tigers with his bare hands. I mean, the name itself is enough to pique anyone's curiosity.
It definitely grabs your attention. I'm already picturing this scene in my head. Was he like some kind of circus performer?
Not at all. He was the yogi who believed that physical strength was a manifestation of spiritual power.
Interesting. But why tigers of all animals?
Well, in the book, Yogananda uses the tiger as a symbol of our own inner wildness, our untamed passions and desires.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
So the Tiger Swami wasn't just trying to conquer wild animals, he was trying to conquer the wildness within himself.
That's exactly it. And it's a powerful metaphor for all of us on the spiritual path. We all have our own inner tigers that we need to learn to tame.
It makes you wonder, though, even if you can physically overpower a tiger, does that mean you've truly conquered those inner demons? That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's something that Yogananda explores in depth throughout the book. True spiritual strength isn't just about physical prowess or even supernatural abilities. It's about cultivating inner peace, wisdom, and compassion.
So the Tiger Swami, despite his incredible feats of strength, was still a work in progress, just like the rest of us.
Exactly. And his story serves as a reminder that the spiritual path is a lifelong journey, not a destination.
Which leads us to the pivotal moment in Yogananda's journey, his first encounter with Sri Yukteswar Giri.
Ah, yes, the guru who would change his life forever.
This wasn't just about finding a teacher. This was about recognizing your soul's purpose.
It's a beautiful example of how the right teacher appears at the perfect moment.
And the way Sri Yukteswar instantly sees Yogananda's potential, it's like their souls recognized each other.
It's true. And their connection deepens as the book unfolds.
And just when you think their bond can't get any stronger, Sri Yukteswar does something that even I, a seasoned deep diver, found hard to believe.
Oh, you're talking about his prediction about the radio?
Yeah, I mean, predicting the radio, like, out of thin air, it just seems so far-fetched.
I know. It sounds crazy. But that's the thing about Sri Yukteswar. He had this uncanny ability to bridge the gap between the spiritual and the scientific. He explained it as an understanding of vibrations and their ability to be transmitted.
So he wasn't just pulling this knowledge out of nowhere. He had a scientific basis for his prediction.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this was a time when such technology was unheard of. It's mind-boggling to think about.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what else we might be capable of if we could tap into that level of understanding.
That's the beauty of Autobiography of a Yogi. It challenges our perceptions of what's possible and invites us to explore the hidden dimensions of reality.
Okay, so we've got this spiritually gifted child, a mother's dying wish, a yearning for a guru, a series of encounters that challenge everything we think we know about reality. Where do we even go from here?
Well, this is where the real journey begins. Once Yogananda becomes Sri Yukteswar's disciple, we get a glimpse into a whole new world of spiritual training and development.
And I'm guessing it's anything but predictable.
You could say that buckle up because things are about to get interesting.
Okay, so Sri Yukteswar predicts the radio like it's nothing, but I have a feeling that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this guru, right?
Oh, you have no idea. Sri Yukteswar was a true master, a perfect blend of spiritual depth and practical wisdom.
So what was it actually like for Yogananda once he became Sri Yukteswar's disciple?
Well, picture this.
Yeah.
You wake up before dawn, surrounded by the serene beauty of the ashram.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The air is thick with incense, and the sound of chanting fills the air.
Sounds pretty peaceful so far.
It was, but it was also intense. This wasn't some kind of spiritual retreat where you just relaxed and meditated all day.
Oh no.
No. Sri Yukteswar believed in rigorous training both for the body and the mind.
So what kind of training are we talking about?
We're talking meditation, of course, but also studying ancient scriptures, practicing yoga asanas, even learning how to outwit mosquitoes.
Wait, what was that last one? How do you outwit a mosquito?
Right. It's a hilarious story. So apparently mosquitoes were a constant nuisance at the hermitage, and Yogananda, being a bit new to this whole austere lifestyle, was having a tough time with them.
I can relate. I'm definitely that person who gets eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Well, Sri Yukteswar, being the playful teacher, that he was told Yogananda to catch a mosquito and train it to meditate.
He's kidding, right?
It was. It's a funny story, but it highlights a deeper truth about focusing on what truly matters on the spiritual path.
Don't sweat the small stuff, right?
Exactly. And amidst all the training and the teachings, there were also these incredible stories of miracles and divine interventions.
Okay, this is what I've been waiting for. Tell me everything.
Well, one story that really stands out is the healing of Sasi. This young man was on the brink of death. Conventional medicine had failed, and his family was desperate.
So they turned to Sri Yukteswar as a last resort.
Exactly. And what does Sri Yukteswar do? He heals Sasi through sheer willpower and spiritual force.
Hold on, he just healed him. Like that.
It's a powerful example of the potential of spiritual healing, and it challenges our understanding of what's possible.
It really makes you question everything you thought you knew about the limits of healing.
It does. And then there's the story of Afzal Khan, the Mohammedan miracle worker.
Oh yeah, I read about him in the book. He could like materialize objects out of thin air, fulfill any wish you could imagine.
He was like a walking wishing well.
Hmm.
But as Yogananda points out, these powers, however impressive, don't necessarily equate to true spiritual enlightenment.
So you can have all the supernatural abilities in the world, but still be spiritually bankrupt.
Exactly. It's like having access to the most advanced technology, but lacking the wisdom to use it responsibly.
It's a good reminder that true spiritual growth is about more than just flash displays of power.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating wisdom, compassion, and selflessness.
Which brings us to a topic that's central to Yogananda's teachings, Kriya Yoga.
Ah, yes, the heart of Yogananda's message.
So can you break it down for us? What exactly is Kriya Yoga?
In essence, Kriya Yoga is an ancient technique of meditation that involves specific breathing and concentration practices.
Okay, so it's like a specific type of meditation.
Right. And it's said to be incredibly powerful. Yogananda describes it as a scientific method for achieving self-realization.
Self-realization, what does that even mean?
It's about realizing your true nature, your connection to the divine spark within.
So it's about connecting with something larger than yourself.
Exactly. And Kriya Yoga is said to accelerate that process. It's like hitting the fast-forward button on your spiritual evolution.
And then there's that mind-blowing story about Lahiri Mahasaya reviving his dead disciple using Kriya Yoga. I mean, how is that even possible?
It's a powerful story, right? And while it might seem like a miracle, Yogananda presents it as evidence of the untapped potential that lies dormant within each of us.
So you're saying we all have that power within us?
We do. It's just a matter of awakening it.
Yeah.
And that's what Kriya Yoga is all about.
Okay, now you're really making me think. If we have this incredible potential within us, if death is the end, then what does all of this mean for us in our everyday lives?
That's a question that Yogananda explores in depth, particularly in the context of his mission to bridge the gap between East and West.
Okay, so we've covered some pretty mind-blowing concepts in this deep dive, but I keep coming back to this idea of bridging East and West. What was it about the West that drew Yogananda to this mission?
Well, he saw a deep hunger for spiritual understanding in the West, a longing for something more than just material success.
Okay, so he recognized a need and he felt called to address it.
Exactly. He believed that the ancient teachings of yoga and meditation could offer a path to inner peace and fulfillment, a path that was desperately needed in the increasingly fast-paced and often chaotic Western world.
So he wasn't trying to convert people to a particular religion or belief system, but rather to share these universal truths that he felt could benefit everyone.
Precisely. He saw the common threads that weave through all spiritual traditions, and he wanted to make those teachings accessible to a wider audience.
And he didn't shy away from engaging with some pretty influential figures in the West either, like Luther Burbank, the renowned horticulturist.
Right? And
Mhm.
Therese Newman, the Catholic mystic. These were people from vastly different backgrounds, and yet Yogananda was able to connect with them on a soul level.
It speaks to his ability to meet people where they were at, to share his teachings in a way that resonated with their own unique experiences and perspectives.
Absolutely. And perhaps the most significant encounter in terms of bridging East and West was his meeting with Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'd love to hear more about that. What was the dynamic like between them?
It was a meeting of two great minds, two spiritual giants who recognized a shared commitment to peace and social change.
So they both saw the connection between inner transformation and outer transformation.
Absolutely. Gandhi himself was deeply drawn to Yogananda's teachings and even sought his guidance on his own spiritual journey.
It really highlights the idea that true spiritual growth isn't about isolating oneself from the world, but rather about using those insights to create positive change to make the world a better place.
Precisely. And it's a message that feels more relevant than ever.
Okay, so we've talked about gurus' miracles, Kriya Yoga, even the intersection of spirituality and social change. But there's one more thing we need to address before we wrap up.
Sri Yukteswar's resurrection.
Right. I've been saving this one because, honestly, it's the hardest one for me to wrap my head around. I mean, the idea that someone could die and then come back to life, it just seems so far-fetched.
It definitely challenges our conventional understanding of death.
Yeah.
But Yogananda doesn't present it as just some kind of supernatural phenomenon. He describes it as a conscious transition, a deliberate act of spiritual mastery.
So you're saying Sri Yukteswar chose to die and then chose to come back to life?
In a sense, yes.
Mhm.
He was demonstrating that death, as we understand it, isn't the end. It's simply a transition to a different state of being.
And that even death itself can't sever the bond between guru and disciple.
Exactly. It's a powerful message of hope, and it speaks to the eternal nature of the soul.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure. This whole deep dive has been quite a journey. But as we wrap up, is there one key takeaway, one central message that you hope our listeners will carry with them from Autobiography of a Yogi?
For me, it's the reminder that reality is far more vast and mysterious than we often realize. Yogananda's life is a testament to that. And within each of us lies the potential for incredible spiritual growth.
Beautifully said. So basically, we don't have to go searching for miracles or gurus in far-off lands because the real magic, the real journey begins within.
Exactly. And as Yogananda so eloquently reminds us, the happiness of one's own heart alone cannot satisfy the soul. One must try to include the happiness of others also.
I think that's the perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi. It's been an enlightening journey.
The pleasure was all mine. Till next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the wonder alive.
And we'll see you on our next deep dive.